Um, so I want to quickly go over. Um, I kind of I kind of saw something here. So in another video, I had commented on the fact that ailments weren't considered chaos, but I saw down here in a skill that poison, where is it? Poison is considered an ailment. So in gray, you'll see that ailments that deal damage are bleeding, igniting, and poisoned. So my build has a lot of poison. So what I want to do with the potential end of these skills here is there are still some gems, there are still some there are still some jewel spots that are potentially obtainable prior or after me finishing what I think I might do with the build. So I have chaos um, and minions, and my minions do chaos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into the critical multiplier. So down at the bottom here, you can see that it has critical strike chance modifier per power charge. So when I'm playing, you'll see that I have now, besides, there will be a little blue bubble, like a little blue orb that circles me. Now that is my 45% increase in critical chance strike. So not this aura that I have around me, but when I start fighting, there's something called a power charge, and you get that just by fighting. Now that upgrades my critical chance to 40%. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to force. See, I don't know when or how much fighting I need to do until I get that critical multiplier to pop up. There they are. There they are, right there. So you see those two bubbles that are floating around me? So those are my 40%. Those are my 40% critical strike charges. And now they're gone. So they come and go pretty quick. So unless you're fighting, I don't know. You'll have to keep an eye on those bubbles. So back to it. In my character, I have a 40% chance of critical strike chance modifier per power charge is 40%. So what I want to do now is I'm not a critical build. I'm basically an overtime build. But what I can do is I've noticed there are some skills that play from critical bonuses into your overtime multiplier. So stay with me for a sec. So, for example, here, modifier to critical strike multiplier also applies to damage over time multiplier for ailments from critical strikes at 50% of their value, 30% less damage with hits. So, because I do a lot of poisoning, this is where this comes in handy. Now, from here, where is it? See, I can do more. I have 20% more damage increase over time here that I can do. 10% more damage, increase chaos damage. So I can go this way and increase my chaos. I totally missed that. So now the reason I have gone this way, I'll explain this really quickly. Again, the physical damage is not something we're interested in. We're interested in the chaos damage. So the reason I have gone that way on the skill tree is because if you look down here, you will note, even in gray, poison deals chaos damage over time based on the base physical and chaos damage of the skill. So what they're saying here is chance to poison on hit with attack. So that differs from on hit with a spell, right? So now we're talking about increasing attack speeds with a sword, or increasing. Now, can you increase attack speeds with a wand? You get to. I'm pretty sure you can increase attack speeds with a wand, right? So when they say increase attack speed, and that's all they've given you, there is the potential there to be able to have played that into your attack speed for your wand, because they weren't necessarily specific for it. That's the way I deem, right? That's the way I deem it. So coming back to this critical chance. So here I can make myself so much more stronger just by playing into this side of my branch, and then where is it? It's off this tree. It's off this branch somewhere. It's like one in. No, it's not here. No. Here it is. Okay. So this is off my tree. So this is a branch, which is nice. I don't actually have to see how now this kind of worked into the build because of the intelligence, which was okay for a branch off from the actual tree to get to the increased damage over time. And again, here, this was an okay branch to jump into, right? Because it's in intelligence. And to some degree, these are an okay branch to jump off of because I do need the dexterity, right? But this is, and to some degree the strength. But I wouldn't go flying down the path to try and get to something that's not going to serve the, like, if I spend 2/3 of my skills trying to get there, it ain't worth it, right? This is nice because it's right off the tree. So I got this branch here. No, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. So what I want here, 20% increase in critical strike chance. Here, I have 30 to my multiplier, and I have 30 to my chance. Now, I could potentially keep going. I'm not so much interested in that skill. More interested in the critical strike chance. So critical, 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 yes. And then down here, I've got modifier to criticals for basically over time. And then I can boost that 40 while I'm playing to whatever, right? And then I have a base of 20, 50, 70, and then a multiplier of 35, right? So so that's gonna be interesting. So now I've made another loop of damage. So I'm already looping everything by having everything do chaos damage for me. And now it's just going to get to a point where I'm now adding to my multipliers through my critical strike chances. So just to kind of reiterate and recap, I may end here too, right? Increase in this is right off the tree. This is a nice little branch right off the tree that I can now dip into. So I may just go, instead of, like I was talking about, there are some gem spots down here that I was potentially interested in. Where are they? So there's one here, right? So I could potentially come down and I wouldn't have to duct tape my gear and my skills together so much, because I would already have that base strength, right? I wouldn't like, oh, I need to go digging for a ring, right? I've kind of taken off some of that duct tape. So I could come down here and score this jewel slot, or yeah, this jewel slot. If I needed more strength in my build, I am a witch, I understand that, but there are some auras that you may want to use that require more strength than you have. So keep that in mind too, right? You may want to play more so into the physical aspect of your zombies. So you're adding an aura so that your zombies can do more damage, because you're not punching anything, but your zombies are eating everything, right? So you could potentially come down here and grab those 2 gems, or you could simply come down on the one side, score up some strength, grab that jewel spot, and then you could come over to this side of the tree, and then you could come down here, right? And then I've got a little bit of dexterity that I can take, right? I can take that a bit of duct tape off and not have to worry about trying to allocate attributes with gear, because I've got more of a base. So I could come down here, or I could come down here, right? And I think there's another jewel. Is there another jewel down here? No, there's not another jewel down here. I will be investing in this because it's one skill. It's one skill off the tree, 2 skills off the tree. So 2 skills off the tree, and I have an extra jewel spot, which would probably play. It's either going to play into another one of these, or another chaos multiplier. So, and then coming back to this, like I totally forgot about this part of the tree. So this part, yeah. So this part of the tree here. So in total, I'm lacking 27%, 10%, and then whatever else, chaos, 20% chaos damage, the 20% chaos damage. I'm more interested in the overtime, and then, right? So I'm gonna come. So since I've missed these skills, I have 1, 2, 3 skills. I have 3 skills that are. I have 3 passives that are going to go missing. I'm going to fill up those 3 passives. I'm going to head this way. I'm going to scoop this up, and then I'm going to scoop this up. I will probably see, this is another, I will probably take this branch and fill this branch out before I fill this branch out, these 3 in here, for critical chance. And the reason for that is because this is another multiplier. So 20% to damage over time multiplier for ailments from critical strikes. So that's basically, so I'm basically doubling down, right? At least that's what the hope is. Because what's the point? So basically this says modifiers to critical strikes, right? So let's read this real quick. Modifiers to critical strikes multiplier also apply to damage over time multiplier for ailments from critical strikes at 50% of their value. So basically what this is saying is that your modifiers to your criticals, to your critical multipliers, also apply to the damage over time multiplier. Now if we come up here, this is from critical strikes. Yeah, so 20% damage over time multiplier for ailments from critical strike. I'm hoping that these two are going to stack, right? So I'm going to stack that, and then I'm going to stack that, and then so my critical with my bubbles, so with my power charges, is going to be well over 60%. It's going to be at a base of, if I just take this skill tree alone, it's going to be at a base of 50%. I have a 50% chance of an increased critical strike plus this. What does this do for me? Oh, this does nothing but add to it. Okay, so I'll have a base of plus 50 plus my 40 on top of the power, the power bubbles, or whatever they're called. Yeah, so I'll be way stronger than I already am. Now I just came on real quick because I had this epiphany and things just kind of lined up. But like, this is basically what we're looking at, right? Like even with none of my skills running, I can still erase things. Okay, that was a little slower than usual, but like, we're missing 9 zombies too, right? So see that little bubble around me? That little bubble around me gives me a 40% critical chance. So, and you can have multiple. You can have more than one. So, and you get those just by playing. So, basically, everything that's already happening now is going to happen even faster. I think I'm going to go pure damage with this. I don't think I'm going to beef up. To hell with that. I think it's going to be, I'll make a new character and I'll showcase a tank. I'll showcase a tank with a mob for DPS. So basically, I'll just kind of reverse everything that I've done. Instead of me being so squishy and my mob being super awesome, I'll be super awesome and my mob will be slightly squishy. Because I've decided not to taunt things. So everything can see through my mob and attack me. And that's why it's so easy for me to die, is because I pull aggro. Well, I obviously pull aggro, right? I'm disgusting. And like, some of my gems aren't even upgraded. And they're not even in, like, I would prefer some better, my gear is meh. You know what I mean? I'm still missing links, right? Things could be much better in this regard too. So even still, is duct taped. And for those of you watching, I found most of this. I bought in a lot of the passive jewels, not these ones. I'm pretty sure I found these ones in the labyrinth. I don't think I'd be able to afford these right now because I'm still very new to the game. So, I'm going to try and double down on my critical modifier. That's essentially what I'm going to do. So the rest of my levels are going to be devoted to upgrading my critical modifier so that I can dump back into my poison skills so that I can make my chaos even stronger, because poison is chaos and it's also an ailment. So, yes, figuring this all out as I go, and sharing it with you guys so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I Yeah. Anyways, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log off of this character because this character is very mundane, and I'm going to showcase how to build a glass cannon. And maybe that would be a heck of a lot more interesting than watching me just roam around Act 10 doing nothing but collecting currency and sulfur. So, poo poo. I shall see you guys later. I just wanted to give you a heads up on what I thought about this critical modifier. I may not be a bow slinger or daggers, but well, I retract that. I do hold daggers, but I definitely don't use them in the way that they're supposed to be used. Um, but yes, let's see if we can get this critical multiplier up so I can be that much more cool. All right, guys. I am going to sign off, grab a coffee, and start a new character. Cheers for now.